Tell Me About It is brought to you by Extreme Health Club.
Hey, welcome to Tell Me About It. I'm James Brown here on Glasgow EPB Channel 6, the local channel. You can catch a show every Thursday at 6 p.m. Live, although we're recording it on Thursday morning. We tried to hold off so that we could have all the district tournament, baseball, softball-wise, wrapped up. But the Rains decided to not let that happen. On Wednesday afternoon, whenever Barron County was supposed to play Warren East in the 15th District Championship, we got basically like a flash flood in the area. So they moved the game to 4 o'clock on Thursday at Bowling Green High School. They're going to try to play it there. They have a turf field. So as long as it's not, lightning, thunderstorms, and that kind of stuff, they can get the game in. Allen County, every other place where they could have gone has dirt infields, and they would have all been just swamped. I imagine you might be able to swim around in Barron County's outfield as of right now, because it usually gets a fair amount of flooding out there. So anyway, that game had not been played. It may be over by the time you're watching this. So you can obviously watch this on the Glasgow EPB YouTube channel and on 104thescore.com. And so you can actually watch this if you happen to still be at the game at the same time as the game is going on. So why don't you do that? Yes, let's do that. Anyway, so this is how the 15th District Baseball worked out. Barron County ended up beating Allen County Scottsville in the first game on Monday night, 16-6. That game was wild. So Barron started Tristan Meach on the mound, and Allen started Eli Stamper. Those were the two pitchers we thought would start the game after our conversations with Derek Alfonso, the head coach of the Trojans, last week. And, so the last time that arrangement was there, the final score of the game was 3-2. So you kind of expect maybe another scrappy defensive battle, pitchers who throw strikes, defenses making plays. The problem was Barron was struggling to throw strikes to start with, had several walks, made some mistakes, but they were hitting the ball pretty well against Stamper as well. And the game, they kept getting a lead, and then Allen County would get some runs and get back in it. So, they started Meach. They ended up having Colton Wilson come on the mound. And as a matter of fact, J.P. Hyde may have closed that one. I don't remember exactly. But, it ended up being 16-6. Not the kind of score I expected to see. Alfonso was maybe upset just because that wasn't the kind of game he thought he would see either. So, that meant that what was supposed to happen was come back Wednesday and play Warren East with Joey Myers starting. So we'll see, who started on Thursday. I imagine it still was going to be Myers. On Tuesday, Glasgow played Warren East. The Scotty scored the first run in the game. Weston Carroll slid in. They were aggressive on the base path. They started Austin Parker on the mound. And he walked the first two batters he faced, and then Warren East, hit some balls in gaps. Hit some, Glasgow had a couple of throwing errors, and really that game just got out of hand in the second inning. East ended up winning at 16-2. So we ended up with two games where the winning teams scored 16 runs. And that's kind of the way this baseball season has been. I'm not sure if it's the hitting so much as, you give up a walk or you commit an error and the other team gets on the base path and they're just real aggressive. And that's kind of been winning baseball. As far as the Barron County Warren East matchup, Barron won both games in the regular season. The second game was come from behind win late. I think they ended up winning that one 3-2, but they were down, I think, 2-1 in the seventh, or in the sixth maybe. So, that game could go either way. East has a good team. I think one of their primary pitchers is out, so that means I'm not sure who they will have on the mound. Like I said, I imagine Joey Myers will start for Barron. I don't know, I don't know what kind of impact the turf field has in terms of trying to play defense. Because I imagine the ball, if it's a grounder, it's going to be coming at you faster than it would in grass. That's usually the way that works. And so that it cuts down on your timing in terms of fielding, that kind of stuff. You got to be capable of reacting maybe a little bit quicker. So, we'll see how it goes. Both teams have qualified, though, for the regional tournament. That'll be next week at WKU. The draw for the baseball regional is Friday morning at Bowling Green High School. In the other districts, Franklin Simpson beat Logan County in the 13th, 5-0. Greenwood beat South Warren. I think the final was 6-2. And then Russell County beat Monroe County. And I think the score of that one was like 16-1 or something like that. So you have several quality teams. Russell County's always good. Logan's always good. Franklin's good. Both Greenwood and South Warren are good. For those wondering what happened to Bowling Green, South Warren beat them in the first round. I don't know if that was an upset by the time we got to the end of the season. Bowling Green was... The first loss Bowling Green suffered this year was Barron County beating them. And at that time, I think they were 10 or 11-0. I think they ended up like 26-5 or something like that. So, one of the three best teams in the fourth region was not going to make it. So that was either going to be South Warren or Bowling Green. Greenwood played Warren Central in the first round and beat them, I think, 15-0. So those three teams, Greenwood, South Warren, Bowling Green, are three of the better teams in the region. So one of them was not going to make it to the regional tournament. Monroe, people will look and say, well, Monroe's not usually very good, and they're usually a struggle in baseball. They're, usually a below 500 program. They've had a decent season. They're just, right now, they would look to be the one team that has no chance of winning the region. I just don't think, they may have a day one pitcher, but I doubt they have the ability to get through 3 rounds in order to win the title. I would say every other team in the regional tournament has the ability to win it. I don't think there's a single team that is just flat out dominant. So, Barron has a couple of guys, or maybe even 3, who can get them through the games. Also, the weather will have an impact. These games will be played at WKU, so if it's raining or whatever, they can play. The field conditions will allow them to play because they have turf field. But sometimes, though, what does happen is, you have thunderstorms and that kind of stuff, and the games may get delayed under that situation, and we're supposed to have more thunderstorm weather next week during this tournament. So, you can wind up with a situation where you get delayed a couple of days maybe, and so person pitches game 1, that's your number 1 pitcher probably, and if you get a good enough delay, you might be able to get them back around for the championship game. Now, whenever it's played, whenever the championship game is on day 4, if you pitch the guy on day 1, you're going to have a hard time getting him back to the mound. You may not be able to at all. So that'll have an impact depending on what the weather does next week. But again, I think every other team that's going to be at the region has a chance to win the region. They have the pitching to get there. Right now, I would give the edge to Greenwood. They have kind of been, they've been good, and you knew they were good. But I think coming into the season, folks had them probably as the 3rd-rated team in the 14th district. But they've proven to be pretty good all year long, maybe better than people expected. Barron County's, one thing that did happen to Barron County, and I don't know what the circumstance will be for the game that's played today in the 15th District Championship. They had 2 or 3 guys who were out Monday night with injuries. Hopefully they'll be back in the lineup because, it was 2 of their key hitters. So, we'll have to see. Hopefully they are able to play, or at least if not in the district championship, hopefully in the region next week. Like I said, don't know the status on those guys. Other than that, the district softball also was played this week, starting Monday night over at the 15th district. There were 2 games. Barron played Glasgow in the first game. Barron was a 1, Glasgow was a 4 seed. Barron won the game 9-0. Shea Bogue pitched well. Barron made some outstanding defensive plays in the game. and, had a big hit by Lizzie Smith that drove in, I think, 3 runs. That was really kind of that was, Barron had kind of scrapped out a couple of runs, but that was the one that really kind of broke the game open. And the way Bogue was pitching, it was going to be hard for Glasgow to make up those runs. So, that was a big deal there. I will say this about Glasgow, though. So, several of their veteran players have opted not to play at the district tournament. At least that's the way it looked. They opted not to play, or they asked not to. I don't know exactly what the answer was. Ellery Haynes ended up being the only senior playing in the game. So Coach Katie Arbeck ended up putting, a bunch of younger players in. She replaced the catcher, third base. I believe she ended up with Kerrigan Hagan, 7th grader, pitching. Now, Hagan had pitched some during the season and actually pitched pretty well. She's not blowing it by people, but she's got some pretty good off-speed pitches and apparently locates the ball pretty well. So, they ended up with a pretty young crew out there playing. And I will say this, that's probably the scrappiest I've seen them play in terms of being engaged with the game and being positive no matter what the situation was. They knew they weren't supposed to win that game, but they went out there and they played as if they could. And, Barron's one of the top teams in the 4th region. Glasgow's record has them down near the bottom. So it was just good to see, even though they lost the game, they played hard. They really competed. And I thought that was a good sign for the program going forward. They've just kind of been, since the pandemic year when everyone, no one played in the spring of 2020, that was a group at Glasgow that they were going to have, I think, 4, 5, maybe even 6 seniors on that team that have been playing a while, and they were a pretty good group. People may forget this, but it was prior to 2020, that Glasgow and Barron were pretty competitive games, and you go back even a couple of years before that, and, Glasgow was competing for the district championship with Allen and Barron. This is prior to Warren East joining the district. It's when Monroe was still in it. So, they were right there, sometimes around 500, but sometimes higher. So, that year set Glasgow's program back. They ended up with a bunch of young players trying to make up the ground starting in the spring of 2021. And they've just struggled since then. So, I think that inability to really compete, especially in the district, especially once Warren East joined the district, where now you have 3 of the top programs in the 4th region in a district with you. So that's a real uphill climb, and I think it had taken a toll on some of the younger players, even as they were not younger, but some of the players as they were coming through the program. So it was good to see that energy from the young players. Apparently, they just played like they were young. They didn't know they weren't. That they were supposed to be sad and that kind of stuff, I guess. So it was good to see. Meanwhile, though, Barron County, they played like you'd think they would. They struggled hitting a little bit, but Coach Daryl Murphy gave Hagan the credit, said she did a good job of keeping them off balance with her pitching. And then the late game, Warren East beat Allen County Scottsville on Monday, and then in the championship game on Tuesday, Barron beat Warren East 8-5 to win the district championship. It's their 2nd in a row that they've won. So they've had a pretty good run here of late. In that game, I think Mia Long had a hit late in the game that really kind of sealed it for the Trojanettes. In the 13th district, I believe it was Logan County beating Russellville for that championship. And then in the 14th, South Warren beat Greenwood 7-1. That game was Wednesday night. I guess they waited out the rain and finally got the game in. And then in the 16th, I believe it was Clinton County beating Cumberland County. Or maybe it was the other way around. I don't remember which one won that one. I apologize. Those teams that played in the district finals, they'll be in the regional tournament next week, also at WKU. The draw for that softball regional is Friday morning as well. So we'll have on 104thescore.com, we'll have the brackets for the region sometime on Friday posted, and we will keep you guys updated. We'll have coverage of the games next week. I do believe on the radio station we're going to broadcast the Barron County games. As long as they don't conflict in terms of time, I guess we'll figure out how that's going to work whenever that happens. So, yeah, there's kind of the rundown of the 4th Region softball, baseball, 15th District stuff. And this is Tell Me About It. I'm James Brown. We'll be right back.
Extreme Fitness has doubled in size, now with over 8,000 square feet of co-ed weights and an upgraded 90-degree saline therapy pool. The Extreme Fitness campus also holds the exclusive Extreme Fitness for Women complex and Extreme Blend smoothie bar. You have to experience the variety of classes to realize the impact they have on their clients. Personal training is with the best in the business and is available and tailored to fit individuals. So start your journey today at Extreme Fitness and Health Club.
Introducing the Glasgow EPB customer payment portal and mobile app. With our new sleek and user-friendly payment portal, managing your Glasgow EPB services has never been easier. And if you need to make a payment on the go, our new mobile app lets you pay your bills with just a few taps. The Glasgow EPB customer payment portal and mobile app, because managing your Glasgow EPB services should be as simple as flipping a switch. Visit glasgowepb.com/billpay today to sign up and download the app.
Hey, this is James Brown, back here on Tell Me About It, Glasgow EPB Channel 6, the local channel. I'm with 104thescore.com. It's postseason all around, not just baseball and softball, but also we have track and we had tennis postseason. Let's start with the track side because, in recent years, we've had some really outstanding track performances from especially from Glasgow and Barron County. We had state champions in high jump and hurdles for Caroline Murphy at Glasgow, Taylor Ogles in the high jump there for Barron County. And we've had some competitive relay teams. We've had competitive distance runners. We do again. It's Chesney McPherson's senior year. And, last year I think she finished second in the 3200 at the state meet. And, she's right there in the 1600 and 3200 again this year. Let's start with the Barron County Regional Track. That was on Monday in Brandenburg, not Germany, but Kentucky up there, Meade County by the Ohio River. And in that, Chesney McPherson won the 1600 meter run by 18 seconds or something like that. Maybe that's not correct, but anyway, she won it pretty handily. And then she also won the 3200, so she qualified for state in both of those events. Gracie Reed, I think, finished third in the 1600, I believe it was. And then the Barron County 4x800 relay, I think they finished second, which gets them to the state meet. And then, of course, Riley Wilson had a big day as well. She won 2 events. She won the shot put and the discus. Now, she went to the regional with the number 1 discus distance, I believe, but was like third in the shot going in, and so it was a good win for her. She had a big day, so she'll be going to state in both those events. They had some outstanding performances overall. We'll have to see maybe about Gracie Reed's time, whether or not that the state meet for 3A, which is what Barron County is on June 1st, so that's a little over a week away. They'll have once all the regionals are complete, they will release the heat list for everyone, which will indicate the qualifiers who were not automatic qualifiers in each region. So the automatic qualifiers are those who finished first or second in an event. And then they take, I believe it's the next 10 in each event whose times or distances are the next 10 best times. That does not supersede a qualifier. So if a person has a faster time, but they would have been number 10 or they would have been number 11, they don't automatically get in, from what I understand, because their time, even if their time is better than somebody who won a region or finished second in a region, it's just the next 10 at-large qualifiers. So there'll be probably 4 or 5 other Barron County athletes who had times in different events, and we'll see, whether or not they make that cut. But anyway, I do believe, going to the state meet, Chesney has a good shot in both the 1600 and the 3200. I think Fallbush, I believe is her name. I can't remember where she is. Oldham County, maybe. Tallulah Fallbush is her name. So I think she's the number 1 time in the 3200. I don't know if she's number 1 in 1600. So, and she's been really tough to beat this year. I believe she won the cross country meet earlier in the season, early in the school year, I mean. So, she's a pretty tough competitor. And there are 2 or 3 others that'll be really tough there as well. So, then on in the Class 1A regional meet, it was Tuesday at Greene County. That's where Glasgow ran. They also had a couple of 3 people who won different events. Real quick, back to the Barron County. I forgot to mention Brody Miller finished 2nd in the 1600, I believe it was. So he also qualified for the boys state meet. Now, back to Glasgow. So Cynthia Austin won the triple jump, and she was on the 4x100 relay team that won. I think Danica Stevens, Taylor Wilson, and what's her name? Brianna. I'm sorry, I can't remember. Brown, maybe is her last name. I apologize, I can't remember her last name. Maybe I should take notes and write these things down, so instead of just going off my noggin. Anyway, they will obviously qualify for the state meet. And then Lucas Christian won the 300 hurdles and the boys triple jump. Taylor Wilson was 2nd, I think, in the 100 meter dash. And then Aaliyah Haskins, this was an upset. She won the discus, and I believe the other person that's in that discus was the number 1 rated discus thrower in the state in Class 1A from Greene County. So I think her name's Scout Brockman. So anyway, it was a good day for the Scotties and Lady Scotties there. They also have several other people who have times or relay teams that had times that we'll see, if they qualify in those events. But again, looking at the state meet, Lucas Christian has a good chance in both the 300 hurdles and the boys triple jump. Oh yeah, Cynthia Austin also won the, what else did she win? She won something else too. I apologize. It was maybe it's a 100 meter dash. Anyway, so Lucas Christian has good times and distances in both the boys 300 meter hurdles and the triple jump. Cynthia Austin's distance in the triple jump is a state competitive distance. I'm not sure exactly how Leah Haskins' throw works out at the state level. So, again, with Glasgow as well, they have several athletes who are right there on the cusp of having a chance to win a state title. We would, if we have people who win a state title, it'll be 3 consecutive years that someone from either Barron County or Glasgow has won a state title at the state track meet. So, it's, like I said, it's been a good run. The other postseason that was going on was the Region 4 tennis tournament. It started individuals. This is for singles and doubles. It started last Friday at Buchanan Park. They had to go indoors to play because of the rain. Addison McFall for Barron County, she made it to the quarterfinals before she lost the number 1 seed. And then the Glasgow doubles of Max Hughes and Nick Bauer also made it to the quarterfinals. Lost a tough match in the playoff as it is. So in the elimination singles. So yeah, there was a good run by those guys. I believe the tennis players from Greenwood, I think they swept both like everything, boys, girls, double singles. They're just a dominant program right now. I don't know if McFall or the Glasgow boys doubles will qualify for the state tennis match. I will check that out, and if I have some info, I'll put that on oneandforthescore.com. Anyway, that's all I can think of for this week. And maybe next week we'll be back with a guest, Trevent Hayes. He could not make it in this morning, so we'll see what we can come up with for you guys next week. We'll obviously be in the middle of some regional tournaments, so we'll try to wait until as late as possible to record so we can have the most up-to-date information possible. All right, this is James Brown here on Tell Me About It, Glasgow EPB Channel 6, local channel. See you next week.